Yeah, it's fine.
I have to sit properly. Like, fuck. Okay, go on.
We've been rolling anyway. I'm gonna take. I thought I'd just keep it rolling, and then
It's better like that.
yeah, because you're just in it.
You can do the,
and then I can just edit things in and out. So, hello and welcome to the Curious Fijian. I'm your host Fijian.
I'm the co-host, Rain.
Today we got a big guest, and it's something different. It's something different today, and I do want to start off first because I remember obviously being younger and Charlie's friend, and obviously you're Lee's friend.
Yeah.
His brother, him, his mum, they'd always talk so highly of you to sit down with you and actually like have a conversation with you. Like, I do really appreciate you coming on. It's a surreal moment, though, because they would always speak. They'd be like, yeah, like Roberto's fighting, he's in Thailand, and I'd be like, Roberto, like, I've never met Roberto. And now, like, fast forward 12 years later, I'm sitting here and we're on the pod.
You're from Dunstable?
No, Luton. My mum's close friends with Claire.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so me and Lee have like known each other like since day dot. Well, day dot for me. He's older than me. He always reminds me.
Oh, did you go to school in Luton and stuff like that?
Yeah, in Luton. Yeah,
did you?
Yeah, but Stopsy, where you had Connor Macken.
Yeah, Macken. Yeah. Oh, do you know Macken?
School, yeah, a couple of years younger.
Yeah, Mac, the Mac Daddy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, obviously you fought Muay Thai, K1, boxing.
Yeah.
You got your own app now for fighters, promoters, and events, if I'm right.
Yeah.
We'll go into the app in a bit. We'll start off with like your kind of Muay Thai journey and how you got started.
Yeah. Like, I haven't had excessive amounts of fights, but I've experienced martial arts and specifically Thai boxing literally my entire life. So when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I dived in. I was thrown in by my dad to a gym called East West. At the time was like the Thai boxing gym in Luton, run by Art Wilkes, who sadly passed away when I was about 14. But at the time I was the only kid that was really training. Just literally jumped into it and took to it. Like, absolutely loved it. Just loved the environment, the buzz you get from it. And it just set a pace for who I've become throughout the years, like martial arts. And then
discipline.
And I didn't fight until I was 16 or 17. And I had my first fight, Thai boxing. It was in Chicago's. I don't know if you guys probably won't even know.
No, we're a bit too young for Chicago's, but I remember everyone used to talk about Chicago's when Liquid and stuff like that used to be.
Yeah, but I was so naive anyway. I was like, other than then going and drinking there, that was my worst experience in that place because I got my ass handed to me, and it was because I was so naive. Like, you don't realise the difference between training and fighting, and that like woke me up. Yeah, so I'd done that, and then went to uni, put on a few pounds, like a lot of drinking, a lot of eating, and then sort of realised I needed to get back to it, like properly training, and then that was when I had another 4 fights after that. So dipped into. I had I came back on a boxing fight and won by a TKO. The difference in mentality, like I was very naive the first fight, and I knew coming into going back to the sport that if I was going to do it, I had to do it with the mentality of like, no one's beating me, right? I came back and trained my ass off, lost 3 stone or something crazy, and then had a boxing fight, won by TKO, then came out of that pretty positive. So then I went into a couple more, but I slowed down on the fighting mainly because I only really have like 2 passions, one being Thai boxing and the other being business. And I'd gone to uni, I'd done business, and I kind of wanted to take that route and put all my efforts into business and being something, it wasn't super easy early days. My parents split, and it was tough as a kid. I had to grow up really fast. Money was always, you were always wondering where the money was going to come from, and I had to earn all my money as a kid myself. I had 2 jobs while I was at uni, all that sort of stuff, so my motivations were very different. I loved Thai boxing, I loved fighting, but Thai boxing is, you do not earn a lot of money, or didn't earn a lot of money.
So you're business minded as well at the same time.
Yeah.
And do you feel like
whether I was business minded, I don't know.
Do you feel like because your mum and dad's breakup that made you more determined to think more? Be more switched on.
Yeah. Like, I won't go into too many details because it affects more than just me, but like certain things happen and you become more and more responsible for yourself and for the people around you. And when you're young, especially, and you know nothing, right? Like, you're having to and there's no one there to guide you really. Your mum's always working, dad's not in the house, etc., etc. You're figuring it all out for yourself. And you know, like I had Thai boxing, and every time in my life I've stopped Thai boxing, I fall off the rails, whether it's my weight, my attitude, like, you know, having like as young and having scraps at school and getting into trouble, but then you come back to your sport and you're back in line. It gives you that discipline to carry on, you know. But like you say, like your parents split and it gets tough at home and you feel these responsibilities pile on, and you kind of have two choices, right? You can just use it as an excuse all the time, or you can take the opportunity to turn around and be like, you know what?
That is what we live for on this podcast.
I can relate.
That is literally what we're about in this podcast. Yeah, like you said, you go down two paths after that. It's like, do I pull up my socks and get it going because I want to make something for my life?
Exactly.
And you have to use it as motivation.
Use it for the fuel for the fire. Because I hate excuses. Like, we can all sit there and make them. But what's the point?
Exactly. It's only in recent times, like, because I've got two kids now. So my oldest is 3 years old, coming up to 4. And I had my last fight like a couple of months before she was born. And then I had my son, who's 1 year old, coming up to 2 in March. And up till 3 months ago, probably, like my excuse for not training as hard as I could and watching my weight and getting to the gym and stuff properly, my excuse had been like, don't want to take the time away from the kids, blah, blah, blah. But like I got to 3 months ago and I was like, holy shit, like I'm getting unhealthy now, right? Like putting too much weight on, feeling like shitty every day, getting snappy. Time with the kids is no longer time with the kids because I'm too tired to get up and play with them. So like it's that thing, like you get the motivation again, stop with the excuses and get back on it. And it's really been in the last couple of months, like the app's picked up. You know, this year I acquired the business that I worked for, and that was like a long time going, but as you find that motivation again, everything starts to fall in line, you know.
Do you wish you, or not wish, but do you look back and think, I wish I made a stab at Muay Thai and just focused on Muay Thai?
Yeah. Well, I do, but only, it's hindsight. But now you've got one championship, right? Who have just made like like I can't even remember. I think it's $1 billion, but that's probably excessive. Maybe it's like 100 million pledge to invest in Muay Thai across the planet, and all the big countries like Canada, UK, US, and a couple of European countries. Like he's put millions into these the biggest promotions in those countries to push Muay Thai fighters up the leagues. And then it's called Road to One Championship, where those fighters can then make their way over to one championship where they're earning what UFC fighters earn and more. Their fighter bonus on the, like on the day, fighter bonus is like 50K. Like that money was unheard of at the time that I was training, and, years past. People just fought because they loved the scrap. And so I had my mindset at the time. It's hindsight, right? But at the time,
you would have been thinking that.
I wasn't, because all I was thinking was, I want a Lamborghini. I don't think that now, but at the time I was like, I want to retire by 30. That was all I had in my mind. So I was like, and my only thought was get to uni, learn about business, and then start a business or go into sales, sell some shit, and, eventually start something, make loads of money. And then maybe my ultimate dream, and still is, to own some sort of freehold land and have a gym on it, a martial arts gym, and have whatever the units are, the rent from them pay for the gym, so it's free for anyone who's at the gym. The ultimate dream. And that always has been the dream, but at the time it was more like earn, keep earning and hustling until you get there.
So is that whole journey for you gave you the motivation to start the app?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's probably everything leading in.
Exactly. And the bigger thing that led to the idea for the app, though, because the app isn't just selling tickets and a little bit of fighter networking. Like, the concept has process automation, and my business that is and will remain my main focus automates processes. Like, that's what it does. For wholesalers, it's boring. No one watching this is going to care about that. But we're in the wholesale world, where you've got, like, I don't know, Joseph, the kitchenware guys, the plastic kitchenware, like that's one of our customers, and we sell them an app where their sales guys go to John Lewis and they use the app to sell to John Lewis, right? Like really simple stuff. But it automates a process that saves John Lewis and Joseph a shitload of time, a full-time job.
So you're like a middleman,
exactly, a sales app.
Yeah, sales app.
Yeah, that automates the process of getting an order from that meeting to the office and processing products out, which is all boring stuff. But the idea for the combat sports app came from, but hold on a minute, that is what all tech companies are doing. They're just acting as a middleman to save time, save money, etc., etc. So there's a gap in combat sports, right? Not in the big leagues. When you look at like Anthony Joshua and when they sell tickets to his fight, like that is loads of money invested in those platforms, and they make a shit ton of money. And yeah, the ticket platform probably takes a portion of it. But in the lower leagues, like the amateur to semi-pro world, right? Like in martial arts that don't earn so much money, like Thai boxing, there's a process where fighters are selling tickets and earning commission. And as they do that, a lot of promoters will hand out paper tickets, and then those guys, the fighters, will have to take those tickets and sell all those tickets, and they're running around finding, collecting money from their friends. And then on the day when they go to the show, they got to take either the remaining paper tickets and the cash, or the cash, whatever they've got left. Old. What they got, and then go to the show, and then the promoter's got to chase, say an amateur show might have 20 fights. Well, that's 40 fighters. So the promoter's got to go around the whole show, or have people going around the whole show, chasing these fighters for the money, paying the fighters their commission, collecting all the tickets, making sure fighters haven't stitched them up and given away free tickets, etc., etc. So basically my app says exactly. So I basically take all that away from the promoter and the fighter. The fighter has a profile, they have a share link, they share their link wherever they want, their Instagram, their Facebook, wherever they want. And then when you go to their profile, which is like a Facebook page, it has what their next fight is. You tap buy tickets, and it does the rest in the background. It does the rest.
That's mental, man. That stops every. Yeah, but that just stops.
That sort of reminds you like Frankie, innit?
Like our friend who's turned professional boxer, like. On the week of his fight, that's the week you want to be focused. That's the week when you're cutting weight, you're doing all that stuff. You're finalising. You're getting down to the nitty gritty of the fight.
Yeah.
And on that week, they're running around selling tickets. On the day before
driving
the fight, selling tickets. Are you here?
Exactly.
So this just saves time and hassle for every single person
So that's where
involved.
it came together. Like that's why I hesitated when you said like, do you wish you'd gone back and given Muay Thai a stab? I do, because I love it so much. Like I love the sport, like being involved with it. I'm involved with it day to day now. I train most days. I'm cornering this weekend for A-class fighters. Like it's wicked. I love being involved with it. But on the flip side, if I hadn't have taken the path I did, I never would have come across this idea.
Yeah, I don't think that was your path.
Yeah,
I feel like this is your path.
Yeah, and so now potentially, like, don't get me wrong, like I'll stick by my business as it is. Like my main business will stay my main business, and that is my full-time gig, right? But BOKST is something that is, for now, a side hustle that I personally think could, I want to say revolutionize. It sounds so gay, but
I think it will though.
If you have a look, because what I'm doing is I'm giving the smaller guys an excuse to use a platform.
I believe it already. You sold it to me, mate.
It's like, if you look at like cryptos and shit, like we're going into like a digital. We're going into a digital era. Like, it only makes sense. That's like when people still like talk about like having cash. Like, I don't even want cash anymore. Like, it's just not the route.
Loads of people say no to it now. Yeah, like it was only a few years ago where you'd walk into a newsagent and they were like, no, minimum spend £10 on your card, and now it's like, I'm not taking your cash.
Yeah, literally the other week, I had to drop some of our the Curious Fijian t-shirts to my nan.
Yeah,
and she only has cash because she don't use online banking. I was reluctant to take the money. I was fucking reluctant. I was like, listen, you're gonna have to sort that out.
We got Apple Pay. We got this. That's just how we're going.
It seems like it's come at the perfect time. Like this app. By the time it launches and stuff like that, it's going to be the perfect time. The only thing I can see promoters and that moaning about is trying to get overtaxed. Do you know, because the cash in hand and putting it under.
This is why I think it is a good time, is because I've seen so many of those same people who, prior to the pandemic, that's exactly the obstacle that I was so worried about, because that is when I started this idea and started building out the wireframe for the app.
What, in COVID?
Prior to the pandemic.
It's mad how COVID can just...
Yeah.
You must have had... Did you have like a lot of time then to just work on it?
Because
your job will still be going.
Yeah, like through the whole pandemic I was working. Like, don't get me wrong, I was working from home, but I was working like the pandemic stopped nothing for me. 'Cause what's really funny about the pandemic, and it goes a bit off topic, but I work in a lot of different industries. So like from home and gift to like tools to some other industries, you know, like food and stuff like that. It's just anything wholesale. So you imagine, like, you remember when toilet roll was going crazy? Like, we had customers who sell toilet roll and toiletries, and their businesses were going insane. So like our app was being used like crazy in like sundries and toiletries and stuff. Even giftware was going nuts.
So you done well through COVID.
Yeah, so like our business continued to grow through COVID, which was insane. I mean, that's probably not going to happen during the recession, but that's another story, isn't it? So yeah, but what I did have was the opportunity to sit and think, because prior to the pandemic, we had quite an old school mentality where you had to be in the office a lot more, whereas pandemic hit and the business just went from needing an office and everyone to be in the office to polar opposite, and now we are completely hybrid. We went from 6,000 square foot office and we now have 250 square foot with 4 desks. But
you're saving money.
Crazy.
So it makes sense.
So does this app you've worked on, this correlates to your actual business at the same time? Like,
well,
not like in the sense of it's going to be used for the same business, but
the concept of saving time.
Like you were doing it in your business and you thought this could work for set thing.
Yeah, but that's the same across most tech startups, right?
I like it, so.
Yeah.
I like this sort of shit. Yeah, I'm into this sort of stuff.
Yeah. Like it's the same across most tech-based startups, right? Like you start with a concept or an area, industry, whatever it is. It's like Uber. I know it's like a bit cliche to bring up Uber and like those sorts of companies, but it is that. It's like there's an industry that could be shaken because someone's had an idea of how the process could be 10 times better, 1 for the consumer and 2 for the driver. And that's how Uber's formed. There's a middleman, he makes it better, takes a bigger cut, and just causes ruckus across the whole industry. Like taxi firms were fighting it.
Yeah, and they got smashed.
But exactly, because they couldn't.
So much more convenient.
Yeah, like, it would have been like
that's it.
Netflix.
So much more convenient.
Would have been like
Imagine you're a
Netflix with DVDs.
Yeah,
yeah.
A Blockbuster.
Blockbuster. What a place.
See you later. Yeah, it was sick. If they bought one of those,
going in there like looking for a movie on a Friday night, man.
Yeah. Games, man. Like,
but that's what I mean with tech, like.
It's simplicity, isn't it? Like we've been saying.
Yeah, people there's a problem. People are coming with a solution. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I can't like when people say they don't understand how these like tech companies are working. Like, well, how can you not see it? It's
yeah.
It's the future.
But that's the crazy thing about tech is that like the hardest part in tech is the idea and building out the idea. Once the idea is there and the mechanism, like how money's going to move around or how a process is going to move around, how people get tickets, and like in my case is how people get the tickets, you know, who needs to be paid where, etc. Like that's all done in the background. That's the bigger piece. The smaller piece is the development side of it, like because if you do that properly, this bit is the easy part.
Is it just you that's working on the app?
No,
or do you have a team of people?
Let me make that very clear. I cannot code. Like
no.
So how
I can make websites and stuff, but like
So how big's your team?
I've got for my main business.
Yeah, for your main business.
On my main business, we've only got we did have like nearly 30 people at one point before the pandemic. Now we're like
still a lot,
now it's like 12, 13, like not many. We're so lean now, but that's probably because the pandemic I talk about that a lot, but it did do the job of helping us like
get people
iron out. Yeah, because
what's it like working with so many people and dealing with so many egos and so many, how do you control it?
I can't. I feel like the easiest way to deal with people is to deal with them on an individual basis. Like you can't. It's hard because there's companies who are we're small fry, right? In the grand scheme of business, we're small fry. But I've found in my career, I started telesales. That's all I'd done. I was a cold caller at this place. Like 8-9 years ago now, like I wasn't anything big, but my first job when I walked into the business was to get to know everyone there. And I feel like now that I'm owning the business, that mentality hasn't changed. If you can get to know everyone on an individual basis, you will get the most out of them because you understand what their triggers are for motivation, and also the opposite, and to not work as hard as they possibly could. Because as a business owner, you want the best out of everyone, but as an employee, you want to be understood and know that what your goals aren't necessarily what your boss's goals are. Like my goal as a business owner is to grow the company consistently year on year, for my own gain. Like that is really the end result of like now owning the business. But for an employee, their motivations are probably completely different. They might have a couple of kids and they just want to get by. They want to make sure they get one holiday a year, like, different motivations. But then there's another employee who's in sales, and this is the case for my business, another employee in sales who does want to make lots of money, eventually own part of the business, be a part of the leadership team as we grow out our sales team and marketing team. He wants to be part of that leadership. And so like knowing those two different mentalities means that you can sit back and say, okay, well, I can kind of adapt every bit of management to that one individual, That's just how you kind of...
What about for the BOKST app itself? Like, how many people do you have working on that?
So I've got 2 teams. I've been through like hell trying to get to a point where it's actually like stable development, because I had an original team. So prior to the pandemic, I was working with someone just on the design, the wireframe, which is basically like what the app looks like and how you navigate through it. Like that was pretty much it. So just a look at like, and you can tap around, but it doesn't actually do anything. So I was working with one guy then. Then he knew a software development team who could build it out. So then started talking to them. 6 months went by, we made a lot of progression. Another 6 months went by, a lot of progression, and then everything started to slow down. And I didn't get told why for quite a while. Then it came to fruition that they had lost their, which way around was it? Their back-end developers, which is basically database stuff and web stuff. And so you lose that, nothing else works because the app needs to call for information from somewhere. And if it ain't there, they're not going to get them.
Yeah.
So everything was grinding to a halt. I got extremely frustrated at that point, but you have to persist, right? So I just kind of in the background, I was like, yeah, keep going, do your best, blah, blah, blah. But in the background, I was just looking for another team, trying to find another team to take it over, take the project over, which I eventually did. And they took it over, done really, really well. We started making huge progress. And then they lost their front-end developer. So I now had another team, but they could work on the back end. And I lost all the front-end development. So I've just had shit thrown at me the whole fucking time.
That's what it is, though.
So basically what I've done now is I've basically got a back-end team and a front-end team.
But this is what people don't see.
And they're separate businesses. Yeah. So like they will always have back-end people. They will always have front-end people.
Different people.
Yeah. Or they go out of business.
Yeah. And this is like perfect for anyone watching who's having troubles in anything, training.
I didn't realise how entrepreneurial you are. Like,
I just
about the kickboxing. I'd rather know about your business.
But go back to Thailand if you want. I'm happy with that. We'll get on to Thailand.
But for people watching, like, this is a perfect example of nothing happens overnight.
No.
Ever. Like you said,
Never.
You're going full steam ahead for a year.
What we just got.
Yeah.
You go full steam ahead for a year, and it's like God, or if you believe in God, or if you believe in the universe or spirits or whatever. They're going to chuck hurdles at you to see if you can jump them hurdles, and if you can get through it.
I didn't even have to start any of this. Like, if I looked on my notes on my phone, the amount of ideas, just business ideas I've written down, I must have written down hundreds of them. Every time I think of something, I write it down. And it's the only one, like I've tried to start other stuff as well, like really silly stuff from like, boxing gloves, when you use them for 6 months, and any fighter that's watching this will know, they fucking stink. Like you train in them, and then you put them down, and then you leave them, they dry maybe before the next session, and they start to stink. So I found on Alibaba these, like, they were for skiing boots, and you stick them in skiing boots and it warms them up and it dries them out and it disinfects them. And I was like, put them in boxing gloves. So I had an idea to start all that, and I was like, yes, get some samples over. And then literally it fell apart. Like no good reason. It's just no one wanted to buy them. Like, I ordered like 50 of them, and I think 49 of them are still in my loft. Like,
yeah, but that's what entrepreneurship is. Like, trial and error.
Like, I think like there's always one that sticks, right? You have to just go through, and it's a bit like I'm by far a millionaire. Like I'm not a big businessman, you know. I just love business. I'm in business.
Well, you're on your way to something.
Yeah.
Like, well, hopefully,
yeah. But I think like you start. You have to start something to know if it's going to work or not, and it depends what your passions are as to whether you pursue them. Like. You can't start something like my main business. I was never motivated by the industries I was in or the software that I was sold. I just could see the opportunity. Like, in fact, I can come on to this will lead nicely into Thailand, because when I started in telesales, I was actually at the company for maybe a year, just under a year. And there was a sales director there at the time, and I did not get along with him like at all. And at the time I actually decided like, I have two choices. I can either stick around and try and find another job, knowing in the back of my head that I want to start something. I want to take over a business, like whatever business I'm in, I want to own it. Or I go and start my own thing, whatever that might be. So I basically decided at that point, to my missus' dismay, she hated this. But I handed my notice in. I literally was like, I'm done. Like I couldn't deal with my sales director anymore. He would do stupid shit. Like, and for someone who's in martial arts, like in Thai boxing, where 3-4 times a week at the time, 3-4 times a week you're going and being extremely violent for an evening, punching each other's faces, for some bloke to stand in front of you in a presentation and correct your grammar while you're giving a presentation to a customer, like that's not on.
So he's just belittling people, power happy.
Yeah, power happy is exactly it.
It's always the nerds though.
Yeah.
Like, it's always the nerds, man. Because I'm telling you, he wouldn't have been coming to Muay Thai after to get that work in.
Exactly. But you keep your mouth shut, you keep your head down, and you keep hustling, right? But I just had enough. I didn't care about money. I was like, I will start a business. Like, I don't care. Like, I had nothing to lose at that time. So I handed my notice in anyway with the intention of going to Thailand for 8 weeks. And so I done that, and I was definitely doing it. There was no stopping me. But the other owners of the business basically collared me and said, look, like, you're like the 5th or maybe 6th person who's left because of him, which I didn't know. I didn't know that at the time. You're like the 6th person that's left because of him. If we got rid of him, would you, when you get back from Thailand, come back into the business and potentially work up to, you know, director, and then potentially you can be on the board? And I was thinking, like, I'm not going to have a job to come back to, so I can say yes and maybe not come back. Like, so I came back, and then I think the first few months I was still teetering on the edge of just sacking it all off and starting a business. But then I actually was pretty good at it, so I carried on, like, just going after the goals that they were setting. And then after a couple of years, became a director of the company, and then a shareholder the year after. Like minority shareholder. And then in January of this year, me and 2 partners bought the business out in full. So
that must be mental, like working somewhere and working your way up so high, and then it's now yours.
It is nuts.
Like, that is
like
mental,
when I think about
it?
having started how I start. In fact, like, even when I left uni, I worked at another company called Amtech, which is another tech company. You guys electrician? No. Okay.
Painters.
That's all right. Amtech sell like electrical testing software. That was a dog shit job. Like, you had to be an electrician to be able to sell their software. So I didn't do particularly well. At that point, I was then searching for other jobs. And when I think back now, having got to a point where I own the business, I was going into interviews at that point, telling people in it, they'd say, what's your 5 and 10 year plan? Like, and a sales director would be asking that to me. And my response was, I want your job. And they laughed me out the door almost, saying, like, you know, like, that's so unrealistic. I've been working for 30 years. You know, what makes you think you can do that in 5? But to me, in my head, like, I'm like, you give me that job or I'm taking it. Like they're the only real two options here. Like, don't hire me if you want to lose your job. Like, that's kind of the only option. But like
you just had it, man. You got
I'm not a particularly great salesman either. It's just the motivation to the numbers game.
Yeah, but that's what they say about sales, isn't it? You got
persistence.
Yeah, it's consistency. But that's like, don't you feel like your Muay Thai has helped you in that sort of way with the consistency?
Like I say, because at that point, if you are training and focusing, it's like the last 3 or 4 months, training, focusing, eating right, trying to keep your,
boost your testosterone.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh man,
everything's just.
Yeah, that gives me goosebumps now. Like, you get the motivation to just get out there and like own everything.
Yeah. And people don't realize that. They think, training's gonna make them more tired. It don't.
No,
it's the other way around.
Oh man, like even yesterday, spent the whole day just feeling like shit. Kids have had us up all night, every night for the past like 9-10 days. Like, we've been on holiday, and the first night they slept all night, and I was like, this is gonna be sick. And then the second night, and then on up every hour, like, and I was like, this is gonna be really shit. So yeah, but then like yesterday, really tired, like the backlog of not sleeping. But then I went to training, like force yourself into the door, start training, and I'm like waking up.
You got it.
Like that rush. Starts like, time to go.
Just a quick one on coming up through the business. What to you is the most important skill for becoming like an entrepreneur, being a successful entrepreneur?
I think for me, it's a bit hard to just talk as an entrepreneur, because I think I've come up through a business quite quickly, but I didn't start that business. It existed prior to me. But on the flip side, I think that the biggest trait to be successful in business is having the motivation to keep pushing through the no's. And it comes from sales, because
everyone says that.
Yeah, it's a numbers game throughout business. Like, if I think about, like, you can take it into the accounts department. Loads of invoicing goes out. Like, in software, we have every month loads of invoices go out, and some people pay it, and some of them go overdue. And it's like, it's a numbers game. If you've got 100k overdue and people owe you loads of money, if you don't call any of them, they're just going to leave those invoices and they're going to go amiss, and that's 100k you haven't got. If you chase all of those invoices and half of them paid you, that's 50k you didn't have the month before, right? It's like a numbers game. Yeah. You take that back to sales, you miss 100 opportunities you didn't go for. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you make 100 cold calls in a day and you get 10 responses and you make one sale, well, that's one sale you didn't have the day before. And that motivation to just keep pushing through those negative times is
everyone says it about sales, man. A lot of people that read and watch, they say sales is a powerful thing.
It is. I don't think you have to be. It's not the sell me this pen course that does it, right? Like, I'm in business.
You reckon it's just having human interaction, and you're getting the emotion over the phone, or you're speaking to someone.
Yeah, there is key skills in sales that give you the ability to close a deal or get your foot in the door and things like that. Like, dealing with objections and all those sorts of things. But at the end of the day, like, you have to have the clear motivation to just keep going. Like, for the main business, lead generation was done at trade shows. So there's loads of our customers all in one place at a trade show like the NEC in Birmingham, and you go stand to stand, basically trying to collar them to get their business. The problem that we have is that while we're doing that, they're trying to sell to people. So if there's 2,000 stands at that show and we're going up to someone and going, oh, hi, I know you're trying to sell, but would you like this app? And like showcasing the app, and that, like, I'm telling you, people literally tell you to fuck off. Like, they're like, what do you think you're doing on my stand? Like, I'm trying to sell to people. You're coming on here bugging me, trying to hustle me into spending money on this app. And I'm like, yeah. You want to buy it? Like, and it's like, you get a no, you get a no, you get a no. Someone says fuck off, and I'm like, I'm gonna fucking backhand you, like, but you have to walk off and be like, okay, speak to you later. And then you go again, and then suddenly there's like, someone's like, this is perfect. Like, you have come here at exactly the right time. I've just had to write a 4-page order with 300 lines on it, like handwrite in this order. I've then got to send that to the office. I'm going to spend 4 days just processing this one order. And I'm like, I could do that in 2 minutes. And they're like, and you're like, that's a sale right there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but that's after
problem solution.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
but you've had 30 no's before that, and people have been fobbing you off, and everyone around them saw them fobbing you off, so they don't want to talk to you, and it's awkward and it's horrible. But there's that one yes, and it's on its way.
That reminds me of Grant Cardone, innit?
Yeah.
Like knocking at 100 doors. You only need one.
Michael Myers sure is scary, but the last thing you need is to be hairy this Halloween. Luckily, our friends at Manscaped launched their 4th generation performance package to make sure your pumpkins get the ultimate carving experience on this spooky day. Turn your bite-sized treat into a king-size candy and join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with code Fijian. Make the right call this spooky season. It's trick or trim. People, I've had one of them shaving experiences where I'm going over the nuts and I'm thinking, oh, we've got a clear run today, and then bang, pop, oh, it's looking like a Freddy Krueger movie down there, but not since I've found Manscaped. Unlock your confidence with the Performance Package 4.0. Inside you'll find the holy grail of men's grooming items. They've made it easy for you to upgrade your grooming routine. Get 20% off plus free shipping with code Fijian at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with code Fijian at manscaped.com. Say trick or treat to your beautiful new Halloweeny with Manscaped.
You need that one door.
Do you have any like sales mentors or anyone on the internet that you watch or anything like that?
No, not particularly. I don't really sell in the tradition. Yes, the traditional way of the numbers game, but once I'm in the door, I'm very much more just a relationship kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather just sit with people, showcase what it is that we do as a way to show them the product. But then I'm really just, I guess it is, and I don't really have any mentor for it, but I watch all the usual guys like Grant Cardone and Gary Vee. And
you've got it, though. I feel like
I don't know.
I feel like you've gone. I feel like all the experiences you've gone through.
Yeah.
Like that's built you into who you are.
I think it's more just. There's a fire in me that a lot of people probably could have, but don't have. Yeah. I think it's just something you
either have or you don't.
Yeah. It's that it comes right back to the beginning of this conversation where you've got those two routes and you can go one or the other. Like, you know, it's like Thailand. Like that was a choice that I had to make. It wasn't even just the reason I wanted to do Thailand was because of I had crazy anxiety about going to other Thai boxing gyms.
Yeah.
So I'd been at the same gym for like years and I'd never diversified because I was so anxious about walking into other gyms. And I had the choice, right? I could just stay at my gym, find another job and carry on life. Or I could go, you know what? I'm getting over this shit. Like, I'm going to fly to the other side of the world and I'm going to walk into a gym on my own and I'm just going to figure it out. Like, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. Like, literally got on a plane, flew to Thailand, got on a boat to an island that takes 30 minutes to get around. It's like a tiny little island called Koh Yao Noi off of Phuket. And it's literally a gym on a beach, and you walk in, and there's people sitting around, and you've just got to go, "Hi, I'm here to train."
I bet there's just killers in there.
What was the standard like then when you switch?
Killers. Like, I got humbled.
Did you think you were going to go there and like kick shit out of
I was
people?
naive as fuck. Like literally, I walked in there, and so I got there at like a time where. It was like an hour away from the afternoon session. So basically they do two sessions a day, 6 days a week, plus running each day. And I got there just before the afternoon class. So I literally I'd flown, 13 hours or whatever. I'd been traveling all day. I hadn't slept for like nearly 24 hours or whatever it was. Walk in, dump my bag. And then the coaches were like, "You come train?" And I was like, I can't say no, and I'm like, no, I'm just gonna go sleep because I want to make the most of this. Even though I had 8 weeks to go, I don't know why I had to do it then. But anyway, jumped in there and had a go at it. And like the first session, there was a few beginners there, and like they threw a sparring together. I guess they were testing me, so they were like putting me in with different people, like testing the standard. And I think I just got a bit cocky and was like low kicking them a lot and like playing around technically. Wrong decision. The next morning, head coach, he's like, "You come with me sparring," and literally like by the end of it, my nose was bleeding, my ribs, like I had to take the rest of the day off because I was like, I'm battered. Like he was like, I'm humbling you now, and if you can get through the round, just get to the end of the round, then I'll train you for the rest of the time you're here. Yeah. And so I got to the end of the round, but we're talking about a guy that's 4 foot tall.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's like 4 foot tall, skinny guy. Like
condition.
Yeah.
What makes them so good over there, man?
Bro, they start at like 3. They're fighting at 4, and they don't have a choice. Like they're fighting at 4, and they'll be paid for that fight, and that will get dinner for the family.
Yeah.
Like it's different. They're not like how we are. Like we fight because we want to. They fight because they have to.
Yeah.
Like, you know. Yeah.
It's like bred into them, innit? It's like they know.
Yeah.
Imagine how many reps they're getting in as well every day, man.
It's mad. They train like crazy. They run like 5 miles a day, like, you know, plus 4 hours of training. Like it's mental. Like they don't stop, and they fight really hard. They're just all hard bastards. Like, yeah. And most of them had 200 fights by the time they're 18. Like, yeah.
200.
Loads.
Jesus.
You look at one championship.
Off the nut. Overtraining don't exist.
It doesn't at all.
Does it?
No, they literally and like their promotions and stuff, they work so different. There's betting going on at every show. There's like, and they're putting kids in there doing full tie rules, like elbows to the head, like
Fucking hell, man.
They're like 10 and they're getting like cuts on their eye and knocked out, and it's like, what the fuck? Like,
Did you have any fights out there while you were there? No.
I don't think I was there long enough. There is, like, I've got friends who've gone out there for 3 weeks and had a fight at the end of it, but I also wanted to enjoy the time, right? And if I was fighting, I would have had to just train. I couldn't have gone out and explored or eaten nice food. And like it's the same here. If you're in a fight camp, you're in a fight camp. You don't enjoy a fight camp, like. But I wanted to, so I did. Like, I just trained a lot, lost loads of weight, felt really good. Like, learned. I was a different fighter when I came back, completely different. And anyone, I bet you there's people who watch this or that, you know, are following the fighters on here, who have been like to Thailand and stuff as well and trained, and they will say the same thing. Like it changes you, like, because you got these little dudes, like, and that's not undermining them. Like, there's, in comparison to me, I'm 6'2" and 90 kilos. Like, they're like literally 5'3" and 60 kilos or less, and they will humble you, like, no joke. They'll take a punch from me like nothing. Like, a guy called Fon, who was like my main coach there. I mean, it took 2 weeks before he'd even accept me as like personal trainer, and that they take ages to like let on to. They want to trust you. They want to see you're motivated before they start showing you proper technique and everything. But I would spar with him, and he'd just stand there and let me punch him like constantly, and he would just suck it up and carry on like nothing, just walk towards me and intimidate me, and I'm like,
you're hitting him, you're like,
what is this? They're proper. It was good, really good.
Did it help you fighting? Oh no, carry on.
No, exactly that. Motivated me to want to fight more, and technically they notice everything. Like, you think like it's the same as like football. I mean, I don't follow football at all, but if you've done it since you were 4, 5, you know, right up until a certain time, and then someone comes along to play football who's never done it before, you're going to be able to tweak everything, like how they kick the ball, where they move to on the pitch, who they need to pass to, you know, how they pass, when they pass. All those same things exist in different sports. So in Thai boxing, like, you've got clinch, and before I went to Thailand, like, I would clinch for the sake of clinching. I go to Thailand and I tried all the same techniques that I knew prior, and they would sweep me down to the ground like you wouldn't believe.
Sweeping.
Yeah.
We went kickboxing. He's trying to sweep me in kickboxing.
Going K1 and everyone. Yeah. So you start like picking up real technique like from those guys, and then it's like, it's a game changer for any fighter.
Why do you think it's just becoming so big now over, like, not just becoming so big now over here, but it's like it's pretty mainstream over here now, isn't it?
I feel like boxing is starting to get like a little bit of a
push to the side.
Yeah, I used to love boxing. I like UFC and that.
Yeah.
And I want to see brute. I think because it's so soft. You just want to see brutality.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like grit, like,
maybe.
I think boxing although I don't mind it, I think that the whole YouTube scene of boxing has like devalued it a little bit, because you wouldn't see those same guys go in the cage. Like it just, we will, like, I don't know, but like it may have devalued it a bit. And the way that like UFC puts fights on, like they wouldn't devalue their
and it's the best
promotion.
versus the best.
Yeah,
with
all the
boxing,
time.
it's like this.
Mate, you look at one
belt,
championship, like in Thai boxing, in Muay Thai, in one championship, it's always high level fights. Like you never see some guy off the street come in just a journeyman. Like in boxing, like it's never journeyman in Thai boxing or MMA. It is like the best versus the best, like, you know, and that adds a significant amount of value, you know. And they talk about like fighter pay and stuff, but these guys are earning the same on their entry level, and then dependent on their profile is when they start earning money.
Yeah,
you know, and it's the same in every industry, in every martial art as well. So
really and truly, your app, if you look at it, it's come at a good time. it could revolutionise.
Yeah, it could revolutionise.
Or
I do just want to say a quick. Oh no, carry on.
The app is that, like, I want it to be part of helping fighters grow to the point of going to those promotions, like helping an MMA fighter go from, maybe I could make something of this, and bridge the gap for them so that people like Dana White would slyly be looking at BOKST, right, and searching fighters and fighter records and looking at their highlights, because it's specific to combat sports. They'd be looking at their record, and that would help the guy who hasn't got the visibility on Instagram, because Instagram's focused on like ads and promotions.
Some people are not good at it.
No, exactly. Whereas BOKST's job is going to be to get that guy seen by the big guy, you know, and also help the promotions on the smaller level grow and sell more tickets, you know. So it's helping combat sports as a whole in every discipline grow and be bigger and better.
It is for all disciplines.
Oh yeah,
Boxing,
yeah.
So
it could be. You could be.
So one day you could come promoter.
Yeah.
If it got that deep, you'd have the profile.
Yeah.
You'd have.
Well, my idea really.
Because if he's doing tickets like Muay Thai, that, like, and if say that's massive for Muay Thai or UFC and that, you could slightly end up being a promoter. Why not?
I think the principle of BOKST has to remain that it benefits combat sports, and I wouldn't want it to fall into the category of being a big promotion. So the idea behind it would be that if that was the case, that I did start doing promotions, it would be on a franchise basis.
Yeah, of course, on a side.
So like those smaller guys who are growing their promotion could use the BOKST name and the benefits that it brings. So if I have other benefits and values that it bring, like you can use BOKST referees, you could use BOKST pay-per-view, or do you know what I mean? It's that thing, and then it adds value to them, and it makes a small promotion who usually only sells 400 tickets. It gives them the potential, if they can put on a good show, because that still comes into it, right? Like it isn't BOKST's responsibility or anyone else's responsibility to be a good MC, you know, put on good music, have good smoke when the fighters are walking out, all that good stuff. That isn't my job, but what my job could be is getting more eyes on the show if you think you've got the best promotion in your area, you know?
Yeah.
And it could be BJJ, like any discipline.
I like the app. Yeah, I love it. I love the idea.
The idea is, it's there.
It's definitely there. Just quickly back to fighting. I did have a question here from earlier. It was 3 main things a fighter should look out for or focus on while they're coming up.
3. Probably the first one would be get around, like go and train in other places. If you can maybe afford to travel, go over to Amsterdam and check out some, you know, Dutch style kickboxing, because they're really hard. If you can get to Thailand and you're in Thai boxing, go and see the best in BJJ. If you're an MMA guy, go and explore and take as much advice as possible. But then I guess the second thing is to be very careful on all of the advice that you take, because there is a lot of
bullshit.
Exactly.
Just try and nitpick.
To put it plainly, bullshit.
Just try and
figure out your own journey.
Exactly.
That's like
exactly.
everything, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You watch someone, you're not going to be that person. Take the best bits out of what they say to you and what resonates, put it into what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. So like they're the first two, but I think the third thing, I'm not a high level fighter, and I probably won't ever be, but I think that from what I've seen around me and the fighters that we have at the gym I'm at now who want to grow and be the best, I think that a big thing that I've learned through my life as well is keeping your circle with people that you trust. It doesn't have to be a big circle. Like you could have a handful, like you could literally count on one hand the people that you've got around you that you might go and do all of that traveling, all of that learning, get all of that advice, ignore a load of other advice, argue with all your friends outside of the gym, but keep that circle. If build a team around you and keep them around you, but people that you trust. It's really hard to find. It is really hard to find.
It's all about the team.
Yeah. Like that's why I say it's like I've been like that throughout my life, because I've never had a big group of friends. I've been involved with big groups of friends, like go to college, go to school, you got loads of friends, but really now I'm left with less than a handful of people that I keep around me.
They're solid friends, isn't it?
Yeah, like you just have like acquaintance,
here or there, or
friends,
like,
drinks.
Sesh. Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
But for me, like it sounds really horrible, and I don't mean it in a horrible way, but I've left a lot of people behind, and whether it was me or them, it doesn't matter. I just have very much kept to what I want to get to, and it's the same with fighters trying to get somewhere they want to get to, right? And it does come back to business, life, and fighting. Is if you have a goal and you've got all of these other influences, just because you want to keep part of the friendship group and conform to the basis of that group, you're not really going to be able to get to, because not all people are on the same journey. Whereas in fighting, if you've got one handful of people who all have the same goal and want to be part of it, two cornermen who are desperate to be in your corner when you fight, on the top leagues against Conor McGregor, whatever it is, and then you have a BJJ coach who wants to also be part of that and be recognized when you get to that level. They're going to stick around you, and you can, bounce off each other's vibe and that. So I think that's probably the third thing. But again, I'm not a high class fighter.
No, but you're successful in life.
Yeah,
and you've no matter. Yeah, but
I'll take it.
You are successful. Your success might be a lot higher because you're setting the bar higher. But as it stands now, you're successful.
And you've been through. It's not like you're not someone people can't learn off. Do you know what I mean? You've been to Thailand. You've done fighting for a long time. You've just built an app about fighting because you care about the fighters. So you are someone that you would be looked at as. Yeah, I should take advice from.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
You're not
that.
just any old average Joe that we just picked up from the co-op and said, "Do you want to do a podcast?"
Mate.
What would you say is original fight?
But just a quick one about that. When can people expect to see it out there? Like
the app is in the App Store, but it's broken. So you can pre-register as a fighter or a coach or a promoter. You can do the pre-registrations now. The Instagram BOKST combat app.
I'll link everything in as well.
That you can go on there and go to the link tree and you'll find like a link to the pre-registration, and the app should be here probably mid-October to the end of October. I'm speaking to promoters at the moment anyway, so like getting them interested in the actual ticket selling side of things and sponsoring some shows and stuff. So it's coming very
wicked.
soon.
Then question of the pod.
Your most euphoric moment or in life so far, and it could be anything.
I mean, my go-to is my kids.
Of course,
I think you probably expect.
Everyone always says that with the kids, don't they?
Yeah.
But let's say with outside of the kids are winning
fights. Like, if I was to say the two main things, like I've done everything in my career, but nothing beats getting your hand raised, especially when you've lost before. Like my first fight I lost, I got demolished, like spinning back heel kicked, like to the face, like done. And to then come back and get your hand raised is another level euphoric. I say kids because that's the only thing that's ever topped it. And then but those fights where you win and get your hand raised at the end because you put so much effort in. Like you can train every day, you can go to the gym, like you can lose weight and feel good about yourself, but fight camp is really tough to be able to win. Like, it is really, really tough. So getting your hand raised when you win a fight is it's a pretty big thing.
That's wicked, man. Anything else from you? We hit it.
I'm baffled with this one, man. This pod's been good.
Yeah, this was a really
I didn't realise.
I appreciate that. Really good one, man. It's because it's something different. Like I remember because
you actually run a business, and I'm into that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
so it's like I'm just now seeing a person that's come up and we're speaking. Like, I'm normally watching it. A debate online, like two business people. Now we've actually got someone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably not the level of those guys.
But it does. Like, you still got success. You're still successful.
You know how to operate.
Bloody hell, years to come. You don't know.
I think it's gonna go.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna go. Honestly,
I think you come around at the right. Like, personally, it's coming around at the right time.
Yeah. We'll see. Like, it's still I guess a hobby. Like, it's my passion. Don't get me wrong, but like,
but I feel like that's why I feel like that's why you sell it more, because it's not you just built it just because you want to earn quick money. It's your passion. You love this game.
The ethos of the app is to help grow combat sports and promotions and help fighters be seen by the bigger world who are on the lower leagues. Because that's where I've been. Like, I'm not a A-class fighter who's had 100 fights, who's got 50,000 followers on Instagram, who any promoter would die to have them on their show. Like, I'm not that guy. I've always been involved with the guys who are on their way up, and I've had a few fights.
Yeah, you've been around it. It's like Dana White. He weren't a fighter.
Yeah, never.
He trained in it really a little.
Exactly,
But he really liked it.
But he loves it, yeah. Even now, like, he's a multi-millionaire, billionaire by now, probably.
Yeah, I think when they sold the UFC, he got like $1 billion, something like that.
He's
something big. He got a big chunk.
He gets given shit all the time.
I know, yeah. But you sit back thinking, like, why would he stick? You're a billionaire. You've sold your business and you're a billionaire. Why are you still sitting ringside and helping build the promotion?
I think
he must love it.
I think if he wasn't there, it would dip a little bit.
Yeah, it's true.
Honestly, because I like
he's
the
standing
man.
in between the fighters.
He's the man. Dana White.
Even when you see him, you're like,
yeah. I've seen him on podcasts saying, like, I'm shitting myself when I'm standing in between these guys. Like,
same as like Joe Rogan. I remember when they sold it, the UFC, like the Fertitas and stuff like that. They were talking about like freshening up the commentary and like not having Joe Rogan on it anymore. And I was thinking, you get rid of Joe Rogan, man. It's going downhill. That guy's the GOAT.
Yeah, there's a dip.
Don't change it. Like, if it ain't broken, don't.
Yeah, if you can keep him on, keep him on.
Definitely.
But, it's another episode of the Curious Fijian. Obviously, thank you for coming on, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
But people, I'll link all your stuff down below. I'll link your Instagram, the BOKST Instagram. I'll be able to get a link for the App Store as well for any fighters. Any questions, just DM the app page or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. Promoters, fighters, anyone, like, just
and
get involved.
Like, comment, subscribe, and peace, people.
Peace. What do you think of crypto then?
I used to love it. And now I just leave it there at the moment.
You're just a long term. What are you into?
Ask
him. He's a tech person.
Yeah.
I mean, I was dying on him.
Have you made investments?
Yeah.
Good. I've been in and out. Like 2014, I was in quite heavy. I sold at profit, but not as much profit as I could. And then I was out because it was all, bear market. And I was like, fuck this, like, it's too risky. But then over the years, I've dabbled back in and out and lost loads of money.
That's why you gotta have like the long term mindset.
Yeah, so now I've just sit back and leave it, just like I do with most of my investments. My focus now is property. So
you've been doing well in property.
I'm only on one buy to let at the moment, but that's because of the pandemic. Yeah, like really started about a year before the pandemic, and then but now I'm sort of ready to go for another one, but now I'm waiting for the crash to happen. This is the first time in my history, in my lifetime, that I have the choice of either letting the recession fuck me, or I go and try and capitalize.
You can capitalize on it though, man.
Yeah,
that's like I was reading a study the other day. Like from 2008 in the UK, it took the housing market 3 years to bottom.
Yeah,
because obviously the selling pressure. It's not like it's a stock or something, is it? You can just sell it straight away. The selling pressure took like 3 years, so it actually bottomed in 2012. So it's like it's meant.
It's just the awareness. I feel like if you're aware, you're gonna...
And this is going to be the worst in recession because we've printed so much money. It's stupid. We're still putting sanctions on Russia. We're fucked. I don't think people realise it, and I don't like to say it because
no, you're right.
I'm still a young man, and I'm not. No, I'm not being gloom and doom. I'm like, we are. What I've read in like some economics, and I'm like, I'm putting 2 and 2 together. We're fucked.
Yeah, but who's fucked?
Well, if you're smart and you saved money,
the lowers,
I'm saying
like
the lower class,
we're all fucked. But that's because these guys.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say that. I'm fucked, but I'll capitalise on it because I'm smart.
The lower to middle class.
Yeah,
middle class,
working class people are fucked because
yeah.
they haven't got big cash reserves to capitalise on when all of the dip across all industry happens. I'm even thinking that in my main business. Like, I'm like, most of our customers are in the UK. Loads of those businesses are going to go to shit. But today is, like, literally I said before this, that, like, I've been in the office having meetings, and those meetings have been about organising trips to the US because the UK market is about to tank. Let's fucking go over there. That's the great thing about tech, is I can just go, fuck you, this market's going to shit. Let's go over there and see if we can find some business there.
Really and truly,
it's like a post show. Post show.
With your sort of company, like you could work worldwide.
Yeah, we do. We've got 2 or 3 of our biggest customers are in the US. Yeah.
I mean, you could. You could work from wherever.
You could be We've got a guy who's moving to the US next year.
Yeah.
So he'll be working from the US. Another guy's moving to Poland. The change has been nuts. Like, we went hybrid, so basically people can work in the office if they want to. But then we asked everyone, how often do you think you work in the office? And everyone said never.
It's better. It's probably best not to now as well. With the energy.
Yeah. Well, we're in a it's shit, really shit. But like, people for our business just need a laptop. Like, everyone's got a laptop. That's it. Everyone can work. Like, it's crazy. Some of our tech is old tech for old customers, and we've got some servers in the office. But other than that, everything's in the cloud. Like, all the code, all of the storage for data, images, everything for customers. Like, it's just up there.
Yeah.
When we can work from anywhere. And it's also really good for hiring because you can...
It's flexible now.
Before, it was like a 10-mile radius of the office because we wanted them in there. Well, they wanted them in there, my partners. But now... like, since the pandemic, and I'd been pushing for working from home for a long time, but this just forced them to. But the now hiring someone means that, like, what's the restriction? Like, do you say UK wide? Do you say Europe? Like, we might want them in the office once every 6 months.
Like, where is the office? In Bristol? Here?
Milton Keynes, yeah.
So what, do you have to travel every day from Bristol?
No, because I work from home, right? I did have to travel.
Where do you live now?
Bristol.
Oh, you live in Bristol? Okay.
Yeah. That's because of my missus. So when I went to uni in Northampton, I met my missus, and she tried to live... We moved it to Milton Keynes for a year, and so that's where I had a couple of jobs. But, like, it was really like when I went to Thailand, and then I came back from Thailand, and we were sort of, do we stay in Milton Keynes? And we didn't really like it, and she'd put up with me going to Thailand on my own for 8 weeks, and, like, we sort of come back, and she was a bit pissed off, and she was like, I want to go back to Bristol. Like, would you try living there for a while? And I was like, fuck it, like, what have I got to lose? Like, and so I spoke to the company, and they were perfectly fine with it. They were just like, yeah, like, work from home at the time, because obviously it was because they clearly wanted me. Like, there was something that they wanted, that they saw in me at the time, that they wanted me in the business, so they were cool with me working from home, but told the rest of the company that it's only me, which was a bit shit of them, but it is what it is. And so I worked from home every other week. Oh no, at the time I worked from home Monday and Friday, and I was in the office Tuesday to Thursday every week. For a few years, I was like traveling every.
Old drive,
yeah, man. But the thing is I was
held weight though, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did hold weight. He did hold weight.
That's what happens, man.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But like they sack the other geezer to fucking keep you working.
Yeah.
But is that not?
That was nuts. Like,
is Bristol far though from here?
2 hours,
2 and a
20,
bit,
probably.
2:20.
It
Is
must
it nice in
have sauce,
Bristol?
Oh,
Is it?
fucking love it. Yeah. Like, we live in an area called Hanham, which is 20 minutes from the centre of Bristol and 20 minutes from the centre of Bath. To get down to Cornwall is 2 hours. Like, you can go Weston-super-Mare in an hour.
Yeah.
Go over to Cardiff and have a banging night out, or go for some decent food
You're
for
in
a
just
long
a good
weekend.
spot.
Yeah.
It's just a good spot.
life.
And Bristol is like up and coming tech.
Yeah.
Like, there's loads of tech companies going to Bristol because they've opened up the bridge between Cardiff and Bristol. So you don't have to pay to get across. So it's opened up a workforce from South Wales, which is cheaper labour, to come over to Bristol and work. Like, so if they want to enter the tech world, they can. And so companies can grow a lot faster.
What's the people like?
Bristol's going to be
Is it-
sort of
man,
like
is it
They sound all like farmers, but
Yeah,
like,
but it's-
yeah,
it's
they're
like
decent.
Cornwall, Devon, isn't it, people?
Yeah, proper. Farmers,
mate.
tractors,
Yeah,
lots of
mental,
tractors.
man.
Cornwall.
That was mental, mate.
Yeah?
Yeah,
I hope it was alright. I was actually a little bit nervous before, but like,
I even get nervous now, like even
Yeah.
interviewing people sometimes. Yeah, I do. Sometimes I get a bit like, because you know you're
Yeah,
meeting new
yeah.
people.
I didn't know what to expect. I'm just thinking Muay Thai, kickboxing. When you started talking,
we've
about
gone so off topic.
Yeah,
I'm so
when you
sorry.
start-
No, that's what it is.
When you started talking about your business, I was thinking, fuck all this. I want to know about your business.